is going to be controversial.
That's a crunching right hand, and that must finish it. It must finish it.
Taylor trying to catch himself, using his jab. Eats a right hand. Another right hand, and he goes down.
Yes. What's going on, people? Boxing family, can you hear me?
Yep, loud and clear.
Loud and clear. I'm just going to test my volume once again. 1 2 1 2. What's going on, boxing families? Raps on TV, live from London. Here to talk the best things in boxing as per usual. This week, I think there's only going to be one topic and one topic only. But before we chew into that, we're going to get down to the agenda. First things first, we're going to say Las Vegas last week, we all witnessed something that was more or less epic. We saw the Gypsy King Tyson Fury take on Deontay Wilder for that WBC belt. The result is self-explanatory. Couple of things I want to chew into that, namely Wilder, the excuses, the costume, Fury, the confidence, the cost.
I'm good. Still in shock over the weekend's events.
Man.
Not so much Fury winning, but in the fashion and the manner he won. But yeah, I'm good. Pleased to be on the show. How are you guys doing?
No, I'm good, man. Just chilling, just trying to kind of take in what happened and just kind of how we move forward from there, really, because that took the whole world by storm.
Turned everything upside down.
Took the whole world by storm. But yeah, I'm good, man. Watched the Kobe Bryant memorial yesterday, which was quite.
Seemed emotional.
No, I couldn't watch all of it. I'm going to be honest with you. I couldn't. It was tough. Like.
Yeah, so I saw a bit of Vanessa, what she was saying, and it was
I didn't want to watch that, man. That's just tense.
I must admit, she took it by the scruff of the neck, and I don't know her, but I was quite proud of her, and yeah, she did him proud.
No, definitely, for sure. But
yeah. So yeah, I mean, obviously, no place to start. Last week, not gonna lie, Raps on TV were fully in the house in Las Vegas last week, so it was really good to kind of just be amongst everything that was going on. I mean, where to start? The arrivals really kind of set the scene. I'm going to be honest, guys, and I'll start asking questions sort of in between. But the arrivals on a Tuesday were just nuts. I mean, the media that turned up, the fans that were there, the confidence of both guys, Fury kind of getting on stage immediately and saying who's ready for war. Kind of really got everybody ready to say, boy, you know what, a real fight's going down. And then, of course, we saw the press conference. Bit more of the mind games and skullduggery coming into it, a bit of pushing and shoving. Then on the Thursday, the Nevada State Commission said, boy, you know what, on the way in, you guys ain't going to do no face-to-face, which I thought was mad. So I'm going to just ask you guys, when you heard that in the UK, what was your thoughts? What was the kind of reaction from people generally, knowing that there wasn't going to be a face-off?
They were just saying it's a setup, really. That's like, listen, what are you playing at? Just purely on the fact that this fight hasn't had much press. Relative to kind of the build-up of it.
Yeah.
But generally, to be honest, the casuals that were watching it and tuning it in didn't really care about the weigh-in or whatnot. They just wanted to see the entrance and see what happened in the ring. But for boxing fans, I feel that was a bit of a,
let us down.
Yeah, kind of like, why are we doing this? It's not like this is Derek Chisora and Dillian White going at it with tables flying everywhere.
Tyson Lewis.
Yeah, this is just, simple.
And I personally think they like each other as well. I think there's a lot of respect between the two. I think they like each other. I don't think there would have been anything untoward going on, to be honest.
No.
I mean, what's a bit of pushing and shoving?
Definitely not.
Exactly. So yeah, exactly like you guys said. I think it was all a bit of banter, but then on the Friday we got to the weigh-in, and then we saw the weights. Wilder coming in at 230, Fury coming in at 270. Didn't take off his top. And then once that kind of kicked off, we knew we really had a fight. And again, what was the thoughts on the weights of both fighters?
For me, well, I thought both of them was a surprise. The Fury one, I was shocked. But to be fair, he looked all right of it. It's not like he wobbled up to the scales. He looked solid. He looked strong. But it was very heavy. And I thought, nah, he's going to be too heavy. I thought he might be a bit sluggish. And I thought it played into Wilder's hands. But I think as it happened, it was Wilder who was well overweight. He just, I suppose he just ain't got the frame to carry 16.5 stone. He's a 15.5 stone fighter, end of. And I always say a fighter should come in at his best weight. Don't put on weight to try and compensate for the other fighter. You come in at your best weight and the other fight comes at his best weight, and let's get it on.
I think I was a bit different. I was kind of excited when I saw Fury a bit more muscular looking and whatnot, because you got to understand from the fight before that he fought Wilder, he was on a weight scale. He was on fast track diet. He was on stripping himself down just to be able to move around, and he was very kind of like his dad said, he's kind of very flubbery, very kind of soft around the body, and obviously muscle weighs more.
That's a good point.
The fact he was looking good and the training, the physical conditioning I've seen him doing, it's just, I felt that this is going to be a bit more of a stronger guy. And I think when you're at the weight he is, I think weight does make a difference, but by that amount, I didn't think it was going to make a massive difference, because Fury's always been light on his toes. He's always been quick. He's always been able to move around. So having a few more pounds heavier than what he used to fight at, I don't really think that was a difference, and it worked out well for him because he was strong. he was strong. His core was there. Like, I could really tell that he was really working on the core of his body. His kind of just power and explosiveness. Kind of taking a leaf from Joshua's explosiveness, really. And look what happened. Look what he was able to do. Wilder, on the other hand, that was quite crazy for me. I just thought, I don't know about that. I just don't know how that was going to feel. But to be honest, for me, he's always been able to find a way to win. So I wasn't really focused on that. I was more focused on Fury. But I knew we were going to be in for a controversial fight.
So guys, I mean, obviously the weigh-in kicked in. From you guys over here, and I don't know what was going on with the BC and everything, but I will be honest, over there, I felt it was a super fight. So I just wanted to get you guys' thoughts. I mean, do you feel leading up to it and what to live the night, do you feel that it was a super fight?
The last 4 or 5 days prior to the fight, leading up to it, I generally felt the buzz. I kind of felt like, okay, snap, this is like a Joshua type fight. This is like,
it's an event.
People started saying, people who don't really know about Fury were like, oh yeah, Fury's fighting back. He's come back from mental. Even him attaching his name to mental health for being an ambassador for that is big. So people were just that alone, I think, captivated a different kind of audience. One that not necessarily AJ could have, not one, it's a different kind of audience, not one Wilder would have. So it's a different type of casual fan base, as well as the Travelers fans and all those guys from up north. And they were really talking about it, saying, Fury's not going to knock him out at all. He's just probably going to dance around and take him to the final rounds, and then become victorious just purely based on craft. Wilder, people knew a lot about Wilder, but the only reason they knew about Wilder was because of the fact he's been opening his mouth talking about AJ. So that Deontay Wilder, that's how they were saying that Wilder. That's how they were saying it. So just to hear the two big heavyweights outside of AJ, Klitschko, kind of.
It was good.
Outside of the David Hayes, who the UK is very familiar with. It's very nice to hear that Fury and Wilder was getting the respect they deserve. But what I like to see, though, what really got me was that mini clip that was dropped by Mike Tyson. So anyone that knows me knows I'm a big Mike Tyson lover. And the fact he was like, Tyson Fury gonna win, man. You know what I mean? It's like Tyson Fury gonna win, man. I was like, oh, are you sure, Tyson? You sure? Not that I wasn't like, I was going quite impartial with it, but it was just interesting. It was so I was on dinner, even the fight day. I was at dinner with a friend, and she was saying, yeah, my little brother's got to stay up, waiting up to watch the fight. And I was like, that's when I was like, oh snap, the promotion's really working.
What I found interesting is in the weeks leading up to it, there wasn't much hype about it, but the momentum picked up. Like I said, the last few days, just all of a sudden, it was just like,
I think post Super Bowl did a big job. I think that Super Bowl did a massive. That was huge. Like before the halftime show, after the halftime show, they were really pumping that fight, and the kind of show. It'll be interesting to know the numbers, because we kind of said it wouldn't do.
I mean, on the gate they broke records. You know that, right? So did the gate broke the record for any heavyweight fight that's been held at Las Vegas? They got just under 17 million. So
what, 17 million
on the gate?
Snap!
Yeah. So
snap.
That's what I'm saying.
We might be wrong then.
That's
Snap.
what I'm saying, bro. I think the numbers are going to come out healthy. For a variety of reasons as well. I think we underestimate again. So while I was there. And again, I got not love for Joshua, but actually the US, you could see that in the interviews, they've actually turned against Joshua as well. And this is not just the public, even the boxers were kind of saying, I spoke to Sean Porter and I said, who's the who will be the number one? Wilder or Fury is the winner, and he said yes. I said, well, Joshua's got 3 belts. Does he have a say in his you got Joshua. We ain't interested in him, man. Generally, the media kind of pushing him to the side.
People are brushing him, man.
Yeah, so that was quite interesting to see. But then Fury, I think they've really taken to him. So I think what we don't see in the UK is what ESPN are doing for him over there in terms of
they're doing a lot
promotions, you know, cross promotion across different sports. And I think it was wonderful because we're going to get into the result. But one thing I will say is generally on the ground, nobody was begrudging him.
What, Fury?
Yeah,
because they know the guy beat the crap out of him before, not beat the crap, but outboxed him.
Yeah,
but and so they don't. And I don't want to. And again, you'll be surprised the amount of American professionals, Derek James, Tony Goosen, that were Joe Goosen, Dan Raphael, that were why they won the first fight.
Nah, they're stupid. They're stupid. I'm sorry. I respect. I do respect Dan Raphael massively and what he's done for boxing, but. No. I'm not even being biased because you lot know I'm not a Fury guy like that. I'm Femi Joshua type. That's me, innit? Yeah. But one thing I was going to add on to your point about ESPN doing a great job. Look, who do we used to see in the magazines, front cover? Who's in the fashion blogs and all that? It's AJ, right?
Yeah.
The pretty boy AJ.
Yeah.
It was so mad that I remember looking at GQ and Tyson Fury done his own what the kind of items I can't live without and doing all these fashion spreads, and I'm like,
Fury,
for real?
In terms of marketing, I think Fury has surpassed AJ now.
Yeah,
I think he has.
No.
You don't think so?
No,
okay, I want to hear.
Because as you said, Fury is bigger in America than AJ. He's as big as AJ over here, I would say, arguably, and he's bigger over the other side of the Atlantic.
Okay, fair enough.
But what do you define as that? Because if you're talking, I'm not talking monetary value. I'm talking in terms of brand awareness, right? In terms of value and whatnot. AJ's got the Under Armour, which is a domicile US brand, and which is how a lot of people associate themselves to him. He's also got like Bolt Powers, which is also American brand. He's also got the backing of Perform. And if you look at Perform/DAZN, DAZN isn't just a boxing platform. DAZN's under the US territories. DAZN's under they've got multiple sports. They have the rights to baseball. They have the rights to. I think they're about to bid for the rights to end the NBA. So, and he is an ambassador of DAZN.
Yeah, he's one of the.
He's a standalone with that deal that I believe Matchroom had with DAZN.
Yeah,
Joshua wasn't a part of the deal. Joshua wasn't. Joshua was a standalone DAZN ambassador for the sport. That's like a tap in, tap out kind of pay as you go contract type thing. So, in terms of branding, I think now he's creeping up with them.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's a bigger global brand because AJ's brand transcends. It's a lot. It's a lot. He's even sponsored by AP. You know, well, the co-sponsored by AP. Anyone doesn't know that's a big watch brand, big Swiss watch brand right here.
I was gonna say before I was gonna say, guys that are on the lines, we're definitely gonna get to you. We're just dropping it up. Line's gonna open about 5
it's been a while, man.
Just stay on the line and we're gonna get through. We want to hear everybody's calls. But I was just gonna add to that. I think in a way, I think on a commercial point, I actually think you're right. I know you didn't say monetary, but I think on a commercial thing, I think you're right because you look at the brands that will associate with Joshua, and they're probably going to pay a higher worth than they would for Fury. But I think no matter what, Fury's now done something that Wilder hasn't done in terms of that gate receipts, in terms of really be a prominent player in the US. No matter what, whether Joshua or the team want to admit it or Hearn wants to admit it, the zone want Joshua to be their key player.
No,
they want to have
100% because that's the numbers.
Joshua to be the key icons
and 2 Under Armour athletes as well. 2 big Under Armour athletes. I think the second biggest athlete in the boxing world that's paid that much is bar Joshua's Canelo. So, but going back to your point, though, that you were saying when we were saying off camera that I think Tyson Fury deserves that 50-50 now. I think he's warranted that. He's built his brand from being such a terrible brand that no one wants to associate himself with. And, you know, you've got to give him credit because when he jumped into the ring, was it Gerald Washington? I can't remember. Or was it when Tyson Fury was started going to downhill? Was it Gerald Washington he fought? Yeah, I think he jumped. Spilker, sorry. He jumped in the ring with Spilker. Yeah. And people didn't like him. Then people were like, who the hell is this English guy, man? That's what I'm saying. So he even had a tarnished brand, even before. But for him to kind of go from that stage, rock bottom, not even mentally, but from, you know, around, man, to get to where he was, to get to where he is now, I think he is the man. he does warrant all the paydays he gets. He does attract the numbers now because he dethroned someone like a Wilder, and ultimately I think that's bigger than the Joshua Klitschko ring because this is an in prime Wilder. This is an in prime Wilder, man, who's never tasted defeat, who's never hit the canvas before, man, who's never been rocked.
I mean, what I was going to say to that as well is this even bigger than? Is this bigger than Fury's win over Klitschko? Now, I don't think so.
No.
But I think it's like second best. So if you were to talk about out here the top 2 biggest wins, I think he's got both of them because you can't go to Germany, beat the guy convincingly, and like not to be standout. And then what he's done in America, you convincingly beat the guy. For me, I think he's got the 2 biggest victories.
I agree. That first win is way more important. That first win is way more important because it opened the floodgates up for the young bucks to come in. That stopped, like, you know, like you have a politician in high power. I feel like he was the guy that he ordered the assassination on Klitschko for that to open up the floodgates for the next generation to grow. Because boxing was dying. Don't get me wrong, Klitschko's a great ambassador, well-spoken, educated man, but a well-educated man, a well-spoken man isn't always good for the sport in terms of connecting with the people.
We weren't really interested in the heavyweight division when Vladimir was running it.
That's when the attention got put on Floyd Mayweather. That's when all the money started going on the small, faster guys, like the Amir Khans, the Pacquiaos, those kind of guys.
I was just following from what you're saying. And something else actually was discussing off camera. It goes to show what have they been doing with Wilder. We're talking about Fury, we're talking about AJ being these big global ambassadors and marketing tools, and what have they been? Wilder is a super. When he turned up, because they showed it obviously on Sky Sports, BT, etc. I thought, bloody hell, this guy is a superstar. The coat he had on, he had the piercings, he had the woman. He just looked like a superstar, and I thought we should have heard about this guy 3, 4, 5 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think the US market is strange. I think it's the charisma though of Fury, and you would argue that Joshua's big now in the US, maybe slightly for the wrong reasons because of the reason lost. I just think with Fury again, it's his charisma. So like the perfect example is like anybody that knows me, I speak my truths. But there was a journalist that asked Wilder, you know, this fight happened in Black History Month, and what do you make of that? And Wilder gave a tongue-in-cheek answer saying, you know, I'm very proud, but I'm going to make him a trivia question for Black History Month. And I don't think Fury quite got it, but what he said, which was good to kind of diffuse, he said, listen, I don't know if people are trying to make this into a black and white thing. He said, it's not that. It's just 2 men, 2 heavyweights that are going to go at it. He said,
I thought that was a beautiful answer.
And he just literally, I mean, exactly, the way he just kind of came in and quenched that down, I was like, wow, because he didn't rise to it, and it kind of just said, listen, I'm not here for that. And anybody that knows Fury, again, knows that he is kind of about that. If you think back to the Klitschko win, and he had I forgot the guy's name, but he had a Muslim guy in his camp, and they did a Muslim prayer before they went out, as well as doing the Catholic prayer. So even when you see Fury kind of like doing his dancing and return of the Mac, all that kind of stuff, you know that he's real. He's real. And he absorbs all cultures.
He was playing one. He was, you know what? Shout out to AFTV, but you know the guy that runs AFTV, Robbie. You know, he used to be an artist. He's got a song called "Proud to Be Black."
Yeah, somebody said that. And Fury was playing it.
And Fury was proper vibing to it.
You know,
I'm posted in the group. No. Even before that, he posted another one. It was proper going in on Robbie's song. I was like, damn.
He weren't doing that for the cameras. That's real. Because if you did it for the camera, you should have chosen.
It was years ago. It was pumping his song because Troops told me. But going back to what you were saying though, I just feel Tyson Fury is a very smart man. He's not stupid. And I feel that Wilder doesn't always. Whether he needs a better publicist or whether it is, but sometimes the way when he speaks and how he's carried himself and when he's tried to be philosophical, and I mean this in no disrespect at all, it hasn't always the reaction he's wanted to kind of get out of people hasn't always been received that way, you know.
Exactly.
So in that respect, Tyson Fury just made Wilder just look like
and even so the strangest thing I have to say, forgetting the result, what I found was really strange, and again I don't know if you guys noticed it, was that when they did the ring intros, they announced Wilder before Fury, and even I was a bit like, how do they do that? Because typically the champion is announced second, so the challenger comes first, and then he came into the ring first. But then once Wilder was in the ring, they announced Wilder and then announced Fury. So whether that was part of the cross-promotional deal, I don't know. Shout out Melt PR, Melissa from Melt PR. I spoke to her afterwards. A lot of you would have seen her putting in work, and
a lot of work.
She told me that you know, when it comes to all of this like ring walk stuff, she goes, he doesn't even have a big marketing team. She says literally he's involved. He's at the table. This is Tyson Fury. He's involved. He's at the table, and he's part of the ideas. And you may have heard his dad, John, talk about the reference to that song. And even again, that song, I'm not going to lie, guys, it was just, I don't want to say spine tingling, but you just like, mate, it's ominous, man. When you, now we look back, it was like, fuck, man.
Yeah.
But one thing I do want to go to, I want to ask this question between the two of you before we go to the calls is, in the week, he was like, listen, we're going for the knockout. Sugar Hill, the coach said we're going for the knockout. Again, I spoke to him. What kind of, I won't even say surprised me. I was trying to get it out of him, but this guy was dead serious. Like, no joking. That's their game plan. But I want to ask you, when you heard Fury say, I'm coming in to knock him out second round, what did you think?
Honestly, I didn't know whether to believe him or not. A part of me thought he's a madman, so I can see him doing it. A part of me thought, but he's also psychologically, mind games, he's the best out there. So I must admit, I wasn't sure whether he'd do it. I thought if he did, he would get clipped and go down. I thought if he didn't and he tried to outbox him and it went, late, I thought Wilder would catch up with him. Because I'll be honest, I had Wilder to win. But I don't know. Looking back at it now, again, speaking to you off camera, with that gypsy background of his, should we be surprised that he just went in there and outmanned Wilder?
Bro, even that,
he bullied him, he outmanned him. He was bigger, stronger, tougher.
Every division, right?
Just literally,
I've never seen that. It's like I said before, it was that body shot, man. That body, when I saw that, boom. No, sorry, it's the level. I went, like, he came into it and that shit went, whoa. The way he just went,
is it a cartoon? I'm older, but one of them cartoons that when the body hits you, the soul just leaves.
That's how I felt. I felt like it was so. Even Nigeria went crazy, man. Some of my people out there, because obviously AJ's been out in Nigeria. He was in Nigeria for the fight month, I think. And these were saying, they were just looking at our guy like,
this is a monster.
Be careful, man. Make sure you don't.
Fury's not just a great boxer; he's a monster.
But look how we embraced him afterwards. Before we open line, but look how we embraced him afterwards. But one thing that disappointed me in Wilder, I really admire Wilder and how he is in his whole kind of branding about him being fearless, right? But I just didn't like the fact he used his kind of costume as an excuse, and that still made me feel that you're very deluded, man, in that respect. And
I mean, I would have said, and if I could just say, even the fact that for him to say, like, so I've seen the whole article, I will say that, but even the fact you uttered the words, he didn't hurt me, I'm like, you can't say that, because if he didn't hurt you, there's 100 memes proving otherwise. You know what I mean? Like, and we're not talking memes of the punch hitting your face and your lips going left and your face going. We're talking memes where your eyeballs are like.
But even in the ring, he was saying, like I wasn't. But to be honest, I'm not making any excuses because Tyson made him feel that way, made him look that way. Right. But he really didn't look like Deontay, the Browns bomber. He didn't look like that.
His legs were weak from early. Before
he didn't look like that.
Before he even got hurt. The costume might have had that effect, but then who told him to wear that costume?
Exactly.
As beautiful as that costume was, I think
that
costume was just banging.
Yeah.
But why are you in a £40 costume when you're going to go in for a dog fight?
No, he doesn't need that. But also, it's also his training. What was his training like? Did he try and switch it up, or did he not do the typical things he's never had to do? Because remember when he spoke very openly about how I don't like to run, I don't do these things, I don't really get this cardio. The way I do cardio is by swimming and swimming only, and I've always survived. Because he's always had this notion that my punch power is so unbelievable,
which a lot of punchers
do. This is what I'm saying.
Yes, exactly.
That means I don't necessarily need to do this, or I need to do that. That's the question. We don't know if that's true, but that's my kind of take on things. But
and I agree with you. And to that point, and it's a shame. Obviously, last week I wasn't here. In the prediction wise, I'll put it out there because we're going to open the calls before anyone asks. Leading up to it, last week when I was there, 100%, I was like, you know what? I think Wilder's going to do it by KO. But, and I will say this, before I left, I was kind of 60% Fury, but it's when we got there, and not just me and a few others, it was like something was going on, and everyone started thinking, like the way everybody was saying Wilder, like I'm talking Max Kellerman, Bud Crawford, I'm talking like freaking Adam Smith, sorry to put in it, like these guys were like Wilder, and I'm like, shit, are we missing something? And like I said, other media channels were now like questioning. Well, what I didn't like was, especially with the Americans, was that they were ignoring what Fury had done. So when you would ask them, there was really no logic. It was just like Wilder with the power. I even asked Adrian Broner and Zab Judah, I was like, who's got to make the bigger adjustments? They said Fury.
They're crazy.
I said, why Fury? I said, because he got knocked down twice. I said, but Fury got back up. But he ain't getting up a third time. It was you know, you're not gonna go back.
Yeah,
and
but you
forth
see,
with
bro,
this
you
guy.
see
There's
guys
no
like
logic.
Broder, yeah.
There's no logic.
Broner, I wouldn't want to listen to someone like Broder because I like Bro, four-time champion, by the way, four-way.
Yeah.
But this is the same guy that thought he beat Pacquiao that time, and me and you were pissed off that we stayed up that late to watch it. So yeah.
So listen, listen, guys, we're gonna get out to the callers. Obviously, we're gonna try and give you guys as much time as possible, but we may have to do it down to 3 minutes. So that's 1 round apiece. But we're now going out to this Uncle Benga. Before I open the line, I've got to say Uncle Benga called in about a month ago. Him and Williama were the two guys that were like, listen, well, Fury's coming in there, and they were passionately saying how he's gonna knock out Wilder. So guys, them man got to take my hat off to you guys. They called it from early. So it's your time. So Uncle Benga, hello.
Hello, good evening, guys.
How you doing, sir?
From Detroit, Michigan. What's up, baby?
How you doing, Uncle?
Oh, I'm good. Thanks for the plug. Now, look, I think the key thing, the main lesson I've learned in boxing is details are important. Yeah?
Yeah.
And your discussion now is so revealing how the Americans are going and everything they spoke about. It was, as you guys know, it was not a surprise to me because I've been saying it for a while and I expected a knockout. Going to Sugar Hill, going to the Kronk was everything because, you know, it wasn't complicated. Take advantage of his physical advantages. This guy, fundamentals, Wilder, are so poor. You know, you can't just rely on your right hand. He put him on the back foot and he had no clue, which is all the things I've been saying about Wilder. I'm not saying Wilder is a bad fighter, but I've been shocked by his lack of fundamentals.
Yeah.
You know, and what happens is there's no plan B. And then on the inside, he can't fight on the inside. No, you know, no inside fighting skills. Put him on the back foot. He had no clue. And to be honest, you know, there's been so much going on. The excuses, the outfit he wore. You know, blaming Matt Brilliant for throwing in the towel. I think Matt Brilliant saved his life.
Yeah, agreed.
Agreed. You know, that kind of beating he got is the kind of beating that is career threatening,
life threatening.
Yeah. And don't forget, they had the rematch clause as well, so you live to fight another day.
Exactly.
Well, yes, exactly. Live to fight another day. But the question is, at age 34, 35, this guy, obviously, I don't think it's someone who learned, because Matt Brilliant was the best amateur in the history of the United States. You know, only ever lost one fight as an amateur. 5 times New York Golden Glove winner, Olympic gold medalist, won the world championship as an amateur. You know, welterweight champion of the world. He knows boxing, well schooled. You know, in fact, Matt Brilliant himself, actually as an amateur, though he was from New York, boxed out of the Kronk. But the thing is, Wilder, you know, if anybody should be sacked, they should be sacking Jay Diaz.
Yeah.
His comments in the press conference, I feel so strongly about this, are absolutely disgraceful, and I am very angry about it.
I agree with you 100%.
You know, I'm really, really angry. And then you're talking about Black History Month. Yeah? Black History Month. The guy who does the right thing in your corner, a black guy who knows about boxing, a great fighter. Like Andrew Ward said, he was the only one in that corner who was qualified to make that decision. And now they want to hang him out to dry.
Yeah.
Wilder should be ashamed of himself.
Yeah.
I've lost all respect for him.
Point.
That's a good point.
When you lose, yeah, you congratulate the other guy. It was not my night. We'll come back stronger. We'll all be applauding you. He's now made himself look stupid. You know, in fact, what's the next excuse going to be? Don't be surprised if it comes out with something like the pressure of Black History Month was another factor that made him lose.
It got to listen, Uncle. I know I said I'm going to give you 2 rounds, but I've got a question for you. I'm going to give you 2 questions, and you can pick one.
Yeah, sure.
Should Wilder take the rematch immediately? And the other question is, who wins out of Joshua and Fury? And you can pick which question you want to answer.
Okay. Let me take the first question first.
Okay.
Should they exercise the clause? The question now is, he's a multi-millionaire. He's made a lot of money. So the choices are, and they're sad choices. You take the rematch to make a bit more money, though you're on a reduced percentage. The loser gets 40% because it's the final cash out.
Yeah.
And he's made his money. Okay? Because you don't really think, honestly, some fighters can make adjustments, like AJ against Ruiz. I knew AJ could make the adjustment. Wilder can. At the age of 34, 35, he's not going to be able to now get fundamental because he doesn't even listen. When you have a guy like Mike Brilliant who knows how to box, you're not listening. You're obviously listening to people like JDL because you're so drunk with your power. It's now being exposed. The flip side is if you say no, it's because you want to do a reconstruction job and all of that. But has he now got time at age 34, 35 to do a reconstruction job?
Yeah.
And then the issue is about the health.
Yeah.
You know, if his family or people care about him, you won't take the rematch because, like Mike Tyson said, after Tyson knew where he was after when he fought Lewis, he was nowhere near, way past his best. He says, "Yeah, I want to continue boxing, but I can't keep fighting if I have to fight Lennox Lewis again."
Yeah.
Because at that stage, you know, there was no way. He was no longer the young Tyson who would have sparked Lennox Lewis. Okay? Now, AJ against Wilder, AJ against Fury. I don't really want to go too much into detail about this because I want to give the Gypsy King his due. But I've always simulated this fight from way back. It will be a great fight. It will be like Larry Holmes and Kenny Norton, Ali Fraser, Ali Foreman, Ali Norton, those great heavyweight battles. Both guys have it to give each other real hell. Are you with me?
Yeah.
So if that fight happens, and because I really don't want to tell you, but let's just say that either guy can win the fight. Okay. But they have to go through hell.
No worries.
But if you push me, okay, and if AJ implements a tactic, okay, with some of the new trainers, boxing people, yeah, we will in the battle of the ages, we'll put out Tyson Fury.
Okay, so you're saying AJ.
Remember today? What's today's date?
25th.
So remember, you know.
Don't worry, we've got it recorded.
I'm not going to argue his predictions again.
So listen, Uncle, we've got to move on to the next caller because of time. But thank you for your support as always. And if you stay on the line, we can get to you again. I will definitely do so.
I'll stay on.
Perfect. All right. Thank you very much. We're going out to 045. It looks like first time caller. Hello.
No, not quite first time, coach. Not
no, the number he hasn't come up with a call count, bro.
Yo, what's going on, bro?
That shows how long it's been, brother. But it's all good. How you doing, bro?
First time, novice.
Yeah, definitely not. What's going on, Dwayne? Below the belt TV. How you doing, bro?
Yeah, not too bad, man. Love to you, man. Still, man. I see man out there all the way in Vegas working, man.
Yeah, trying, bro.
Strong,
really
putting in that work.
Strong.
Yeah, we trying.
Man, I have to salute that straight up.
So what's on your mind, bro? It has to be a statement, no question time. Pure statements. Your 3 minutes and now, bro. I'm starting your 3 minutes now. Only because we've got a lot of callers, but yeah.
Cool. Well, I guess I guess the first thing really, I'm just completely disgusted by this excuse or the excuses that I'm hearing.
Yeah.
The suit was too heavy. My legs were gone. What is this guy talking about? The batteries in the suit. I was like, brother, you nuts. Like,
Do you know what? It sounds worse when you actually say it.
The batteries.
No,
the
Deontay.
Just take your loss. You got beaten up by a bigger, stronger, badder man. Just take your loss and then come back.
Exactly. That's where, like, and I hate the comparisons, but you have to compare, right? That's where you got to kind of salute AJ still, because he could have come up with a bunch of excuses. People were actually getting annoyed because he didn't make no excuses.
It's true, isn't it?
But he just took, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even I was one of them. I was thinking, oh, fucking hell, bro. Like, just speak up.
Yeah, you know something happened.
Yeah, but when you really check it, you got to respect the level of discipline that took, bro. To just take that L, put your hands up. Even went to the post-fight press conference after. He took his licks. He done a fucking Sky Sports interview and everything. Wilder, on the other hand, sat down crying in the fucking dressing room with his wife wiping him down with a towel in front of his children. And then now bitches about he wasn't really hurt. While these times now, man saw blood coming out of his ears, his eyes. It's like, bro. Like,
I mean, bro, I just want to say, I don't know, did you see at the end of the 6th round how much blood came out of his mouth?
No, that wasn't cool, man.
Yeah.
If they didn't throw the towel in, that could have got rude.
Bro, if he died now, those coaches would have got it and they would have pinned it on my man. They would have completely pinned it on him.
Yeah. And you know what? Even with that said, I noticed his mouth got bust up from one of the, I think it was the first round. Fury gave him one stiff left-hand jab. Stiff. And I remember seeing that a whole gang of blood in his mouth. I thought, whoa, that hurt him. No.
You see?
He's talking about, it's because of the suit. Bro, you got punched up, man. Just embrace that. Just embrace that.
Embrace it. I like that.
Yeah. Fuck me, man. But yeah, that's what's really annoyed me, man. Hats off to Fury. Done a great job. Surprised us all, I guess. The only time I started thinking he actually stood a chance of doing what he was talking about was I was actually watching Andre Ward give a breakdown on ESPN. And it was like some kind of analysis, and he was showing like the first fight and when Fury hit him, and he showed Wilder's legs wobble. I was watching, I was listening.
He did get hurt a few times in that first fight.
Yeah, and I was watching this breakdown, and I'm thinking, especially in someone like Ward, you got to listen and you got to pay attention.
100%.
I thought, like maybe I ain't gonna lie, I ain't gonna say I knew it was gonna happen. I started thinking maybe the size of Fury, I don't know, it's possible. And when you looked at this last fight, you could just see the overwhelming difference in size, man. That's why the rematch makes no sense as well, because he's not going to be able to beat Fury. Fury's got his number. He outboxed him in the first fight. He bullied him and battered him in the second fight. Like, come on now. You'd rather just see the undisputed, bro.
It's true. The only thing I don't see what Wilder could really, really do different. But I just also say every man that loses better has at least one chance to try and get it back. But I hear you. It's kind of like, it was just too conclusive. Boxing is boxing. But it was just too conclusive. So just a question for you, Dwayne. And before I let you go, in terms of, I'm going to quick one. Joshua v Fury. I guess you said you'd like to see that next. Quickly, tell me high level who you think would win.
I think you have to go Fury, but I think AJ would present a much more trickier challenge, because at least he can actually go back to like technical boxing skills. Like Wilder, he has no, like somebody else said it, he has no plan B. So I think you got to go Fury as the favorite. But I think AJ poses a totally different set of threats and stars make fights, right?
Yeah, that's exactly where I am with that fight.
Definitely, bro. Listen, I'm gonna move on to the next caller, but thank you very much for the support as always.
Big yourself up, D.
And big yourself up, and
look after yourself.
We have to schedule something, but I'm back in. We'll schedule for getting you down in the studio as well, bro.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Shout out to all of you, man. Still, man. Maintain the movement.
All right, respect, man.
All right,
bless. 985. I know that's Mr. Appiah. What's going on, D?
How we doing, boys? Are we all right?
Yeah, we're all doing
good.
How
are you, brother?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. I'm doing very well, thank you.
Thoughts on the fight?
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. Tremendous performance from Tyson Fury. Absolutely brilliant. Pressed Wilder back, and I wasn't expecting to see that. As you lot know, if you go through some of the old Raps on TV, I predicted that Wilder would win this fight. I thought he would knock Fury out in the 9th round, but he against the odds, like in my opinion, he's come in to Wilder's backyard and just done a job on him. He's gone in there and just done a job on him in his own backyard and just basically just took the title from him. See you later, job done. And it's absolutely terrific performance.
Daniel, when you heard it was going to be, he was looking for the 2nd round knockout. What did you think, honestly, when you heard him say that in the build up to the fight?
I'll be honest with you, Kojo, I thought it was psychology. I didn't think he'd be looking, he surprised me, you know, but he said what he was going to do. Like, he went out there and he was looking for the knockout. He was looking for it. And it's good to see. Good to see him on the front foot like that, showing that he's got different styles. He's got a lot in that. He's got a lot in his locker. Yeah, so he's going to be a very, very dangerous man going forward. That division is his until he decides to call it a day. That heavyweight division is all his. He's got that on lock. Who beats him?
Yeah. AJ.
Nah, AJ won't beat him. AJ will get knocked the fuck out.
No. I think that goes 12 rounds, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
Well, like heavyweights, man. I'm not saying anything because, I'm going to be totally honest. The reason why I'm not saying anything is because I want to see how AJ fights Pulev. I think that's going to be quite telling to what happens, in my opinion, how that fight sort of turns out. The trajectory, the style that Joshua brings. I think, you know, Joshua seems to like the Klitschko style a little bit, and I'm sorry, like Fury dismantled that style not too long ago. So this new Fury, but yeah. So in your point, Joshua, Daniel, quick question for you. Wilder, should he be taking a rematch or should he be taking a bit of time out to recover, rebuild, and come with a new strategy?
Yeah, take the rematch. I mean, I think it would be the same result. Take the rematch and take the rematch. Come back. Stop making stupid excuses and get in there, fight, and try and get your belt back. Yeah, you know, try and get it back, and then that's what we would like to see. That, but Fury's the man now. He's the man. Yeah. Perfect.
Listen, Daniel, thank you very much for your call. Gonna go on to the next caller. But yeah, appreciate the support as always. We'll catch up soon, man. Big up yourself.
Look after yourself.
Guys, thanks a lot, guys. Big up to the whole crew, yeah? Take it easy.
Definitely.
And Kojo,
yes.
Nice one. Good work out in Vegas, yeah?
Thank you very much, brother. Thank you, man. We try.
Nice one, brother. Take care.
Cheers,
see you later. Bye-bye.
Bye. It's 348. What's going on? Is that Mr. Lyons?
Hey, how we doing, guys?
We're doing good. We're doing good.
How are you?
Yeah, good. I'm doing okay, thank you. Just a touch of a flu, so excuse me if I'm coughing a bit. I got a bit of a deadly cough going on. So
don't worry. Tell the truth, mate.
Keep your coronavirus there.
Who's the girl, man?
It's not even just coronavirus. It's those Gypsy King celebrations, man. This guy got on the lash from Saturday 5 a.m. until Monday 5 a.m.
Nah, do you know what? I think I might have contracted something, but that's another story for another day.
That doesn't sound too good at all. But yeah, so thoughts on the fights, Tom. I mean, again, obviously you were on the show. I think it's fair to say you had mixed predictions, but I'll say leading up to the fight, the last 2 weeks, you were firmly backing Fury to go and do the job. 100%.
100%. I think, you know, if I thought that that performance was any more exhibition and one-sided than I thought the Klitschko fight was. But my God, the amount of excuses that man is coming out with, saying that he swallowed a few batteries and all of a sudden he didn't feel energetic enough. Jesus Christ, give it a rest, will you? I just think, do you know what? I think when you're a champion and you've maintained that unbeaten record for so long, and you've got one of the highest knockout ratios of any heavyweight in the world, you know, people wrote Fury off. They said he couldn't punch. They said he had pillow fists for hands. But at the end of the day, he's got 29 knockouts out of 30 fights. 29 knockouts out of 30 fights. If that's not enough statistics to prove that you're a big puncher for someone that doesn't even go to search for knockouts in most of his fights, you know, we used to see in Fury, you know, dance around the ring, make guys look silly, you know. make him punch fresh air. The way he moves, the angles he moves at, his footwork, his just everything about him, his fluidity as a boxer. That's what he specializes in. That's what we've been so used to seeing from Tyson Fury the last decade since he laced up a boxing glove, was about hit and don't get hit, move off the jab, set up his shots with the jab. But what he showed on Saturday night, got to commend the man. He's the best heavyweight bar none, and I don't think anyone at present, any of the young prospects, no disrespect, coming up, nobody is touching Fury at his best. Nobody. I don't care what anyone says. Joshua ain't beating Fury at this present moment in time. I think Fury knocks Joshua out in 4 rounds. Not from
massive statement.
From the opening bell to those 4 rounds, Joshua's going to have to make adjustments. Yes, he's technically much better than Wilder. He sets up his shots. Don't forget, he's an Olympic gold medalist. But Tyson Fury, when he's on his A game, when he's feinting, he's drawing people in. He's throwing out his jab. He's setting up his shots, mate. Deontay Wilder was this formidable, invincible puncher, and Fury walked through him like it was nothing. Took his best shots in those opening few rounds, and yes, he was dangerous in those first few rounds. I was a bit skeptical about what Wilder was gonna throw caution to the wind, and he was gonna try and get Fury out of there. But Fury showed that he's got a granite chin. He showed that he can be resilient. He showed that he can walk Wilder down. And to be honest, he embarrassed him in his hometown, like he did to Klitschko. Yeah. He embarrassed the champion. He knocked the champion off his hierarchy, off his pedestal. And that's the second time now he's defeated a champion that's had more than 10 defenses. Yeah. So you've got to respect the man for doing that.
Exactly. And I mean, Tom, you mentioned the Klitschko and the 10 defenses, and even when we just think about Fury as a fighter, what a phenomenal story this really is, to be going to people's backyards, not like one-time champions. And, you know, with all respect to Joshua, you're not talking about the Martins. You're going to like guys with kind of feared reputations, whether you agree with it or not.
Yeah, invincible guys.
And kind of just like extinguishing them, like all that smoke just gets diffused like straight away. He's mad.
Yeah, 100%. I think, you know, a lot of people wrote Fury off. They said that he can't make the adjustments to sit down on his shots and hurt Wilder. But to be honest, Sugar Hill and Andy Lee, they have devised one of probably the greatest game plans of any modern day heavyweight. Sit down on your shots. Don't waste energy. Conserve energy. To beat Deontay Wilder, it's very simple. Push him onto the back foot, pressurize him. Don't allow him to get off that lead hand to press on you and then throw that looping right hand. You've got to be able to negate Wilder. Wilder's a very dangerous heavyweight. He can punch like a mule, but in terms of his technical ability, we haven't seen enough of him to prove that he's a technically sound boxer. He's not. I mean, when do you ever see Deontay Wilder box on the back foot and be successful? When he was pushed on the back foot against Luis Ortiz, if Luis Ortiz was 20 years younger, wasn't on the juice, and had a bit more resilience to him, he would have got Wilder out of there 100%. If he had the engine that a Fury has, or if he had an engine that a Dubois has, he would have knocked him out, clean out in that 7th round when he hurt him. If he had pressed on the gas and he'd gone through the gears like Fury did on the weekend, he'd have knocked him out 100%.
I mean, I'll say this though, and you are right in terms of there's a chance, but I think one thing you have to say, even Fury still didn't knock him out. So I don't think it's fair to say he's definitely there for the taking. I think Fury started giving him punishment and was dishing out. It's kind of similar to like a Kovalev, Jean Pascal, breaking him down. But if I'm being honest, and I know Sugar Hill said this, he said he wanted Fury to actually get him out there. He was like, I'm not going to say it was taking too long, because ultimately he got him out of there in terms of them throwing in the towel. But you would have wanted Fury to really be standing over Wilder the way he had knocked him down in the 3rd round. So I think you have to give Wilder a lot of credit for his durability, because at the end of the day, he didn't get counted out to 10.
He's got heart.
And I think outside of Fury, I think he will still be difficult to beat if I'm being honest. I think Fury's just beats him in every department. You saw it on Saturday: the height, the reach, the weight, the speed. Now he's sitting down on his shot, so he's got the power. Literally, that right hand. I mean, people say, "Oh, it's behind the back of the head." I'm like, listen, this is boxing. If you throw a hook to set up a big right, like it's gonna hit you somewhere, right?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I don't like the excuses, and I'm very disappointed with it.
And like Wilder, you know, with Wilder, like I give him the utmost respect. You know, he was a good servant while he was WBC champion, and I think he did go out on his shield. I respect the fact that he's come out and he said, "I'm not happy with the corner putting the towel in. I'm a man that goes out on my shield." But if that fight went on any longer, he'd have got seriously hurt in there.
Yeah, we'd be talking about tragedy.
Yeah, no, exactly. And boxing would have got scrutinized. All the press would have come out and said all this and then blamed, you know, Al Heyman's somehow's fault. And, you know, but one thing I wanted to touch on, because a couple of weeks ago we were lucky enough to have Don Charles, who had his son as the insider. And one thing he did tell me was that, you know, Wilder can't handle being on the bait. He didn't say it in so many words, but the way he paraphrased it was, you know, Wilder can't handle that, and that was the game plan. So I was kind of optimistic about what could happen, and I said it was going to be controversial. So.
I'll be honest, I've always said the way Fury beat Wilder, I've always said that is the way to beat Wilder. You put it on him. Yeah. I just didn't think Fury had the power to go and do that.
So listen, Tom, we're going to move on to the next caller, but listen, I appreciate the call as usual, and we'll be seeing you next week as well. So.
Yeah, man, big yourselves up. Keep doing what you're doing and keep spreading the movement.
Perfect. Thank you. Same to yourself, man. We'll see you next week. Cheers.
Nice one.
Take care. 644. The floor is yours. Hello.
Hello, guys. It's Sam. How you guys doing? You all right?
Yes, we're doing good, Inam. How you doing?
Hello, mate.
Yeah, good, man. Good. I'm still buzzing from the fight, man. What a performance. It was absolute masterclass, you know, and just to follow on from what Thomas was saying earlier on, you know, people would have been very, very stupid, you know, to think that Fury couldn't hurt Wilder, right? He's got to apply a bit of logic. Who got a massive guy, right? 19 stone, 6'9" 273 pounds, right? You know, it was literally a question of translating that mass. You know, what is power? Power is literally, you know, power is speed times mass, right? So he's literally had to combine that. And what a fucking performance, man. But I just want to follow on with the manner in which Wilder has, you know, conducted himself following the fight. I think it's terrible, man. You know what I mean? He's taken the shine of Fury's win. The costume thing, I mean, let's put this into context, right? He's saying it was £40 costume, right? £40 is about 40 pounds, right, is 2.2 pounds a kilo, yeah? So it's basically about 15 kilos we're talking about, right? 15 kilos, man. Like a young child could squat with 15 kilos. It's not heavy at all. People warm up with heavier weights when they're doing squats and stuff like that. So that's a ridiculous excuse, man. I think he just needs to have a think about that and take that back because he's losing a lot of credibility. 100%. I want to give a shout out to his trainer, Mark Brilliant, as well, man. I think the guy done what he done out of principle, yeah? Jay Deuce was saying, no, he shouldn't have done it, right? But the guy he's looked at Wilder, he's seen a man getting hurt, getting badly hurt, and he did what was right. And I think the way he's been treated is atrocious, right? I think Jay Deuce, like, you know, calling him out like that live on Fight Hype, yeah, just threw the guy under the bus. And I don't know if Wilder sacked him, yeah, but I think he should really consider that, you know. It's like the guy's sitting there, he's got 8 kids, man, you know what I mean? Yeah. You know, live to fight another day, you know. And I just think, like, about the rematch, you know, I don't know what Wilder could do. You know, we just seen it. I mean, Fury has gone to the backyards of 2 dominant champions, right? And he's beaten them convincingly in 2 completely different styles, right? What can Wilder do? I mean, Wilder can't do anything. He can't adjust, right, in such a short space of time at 35 years of age. That's not going to happen, right? You know, Fury has now found the weak spot for Wilder, right? I mean, unless you guys can think of what Wilder can do differently, I really can't see what he's going to do. But then again, I don't see Wilder having any other options. Yeah? This might be his time to make one big final paycheck. And, you know, just want to think, go back in history, man. Like, when you see boxers, especially boxers who think they're at the top of the game and they get beat downs like that, they really come back the same. Yeah? Look at Jeff Lacey. I don't know if you guys remember Jeff Lacey.
Against
right?
Kawasaki.
He was supposed to be the... Yeah, man, he was supposed to be the next up-and-coming beast and super coming out of America, yeah? Kawasaki, I mean, I watched that fight live, man, and that was when I really started getting into boxing at a young age, and that was another beatdown, and Lacey was never the same again, yeah? Donald Curry, Hunnigan, same thing,
Hatton?
yeah? Do you know what I mean? The same thing, man. Donald Curry was never the same again, yeah?
No, Tyson
Douglas.
Yeah.
Patton, Adrian Broner
So
against Maidana.
You lose your aura, you lose the fear factor.
Do you know what I mean? It's not that there's a psychological effect as well. And I think physically does something as well, right? Look, man, you got to bear this in mind. You got a 16-stone man getting pounded by a 19-stone man. I mean, just imagine the size of the guy hitting on you, man. Do you know what I mean? That's going to do serious damage. So I think long term it's going to affect him. Yeah. So I can't see what he's going to do in a rematch, but I think he's probably, he's got no other option. It's going to be one big last payday. I think if he loses to Fury again, I can see him quitting. You know what I mean? In terms of AJ versus Fury, I think I don't agree with what Thomas said earlier on. I can't see, I think people are still a bit gassed from Saturday night. I can't see, him knocking out or destroying AJ within 4 rounds. Exactly. But then I do agree. I think he will stop AJ if he wants to. Number of reasons for that. We now know AJ is chinny. He is quite chinny, right? He most definitely doesn't have the technical ability of Fury, and and I think Fury with his technical ability is probably going to do a similar thing to what he done with Vargas. He's going to put it on Joshua, come forward, because Joshua's strengths before his loss to Ruiz was all about coming forward, and he doesn't have the one punch knockout power, he had to do a combination of punches to put people down, right? So if he's on the back foot, he can't do that, So I think it's an easy fight for Fury, and it's really what he wants to do, right? If he wants to outbox Joshua, he'll outbox him. If he wants to stop him, he'll stop him, So that's my thoughts on the
Nah, man. I used to like your opinions, man. I do feel that, AJ can rise to the occasion. I think saying like this will get him up. And I think it's not just about technical ability. I think it's about having a heart. And I'm not saying the Gypsy King does not have heart at all. Gypsy King has heart, but I thought AJ will definitely rise to occasion and really have it out with him. And if he's that,
AJ's better on the back foot than Wilder.
Exactly. He's like, if I'm going to go down, I would have fighting. So they're going to go for it. And I feel it could go from being a boxing masterclass to being a slugfest.
Yeah.
And I think when it's a slugfest, I feel, as much as Fury's a fighting man, I thought AJ's a fighting man because he's got 100%. The back of...
If it becomes a slugfest, then he's going to play into what AJ needs to win the fight, right? But you got to bear in mind, we know Joshua's got stamina issues. We know this, So Fury's a genius, man. Look, after what he's done, you cannot doubt this guy is a boxing genius, So he'll do stuff like that. He'll probably slug out with Joshua to get him tired, or he'll probably box him for a few rounds, make him run, make him move around a lot, take the energy away from his legs, go in for a slugfest, completely tire out Joshua, probably play with him for a couple more rounds and stop him late on, and he can do that.
To be fair, I don't think Joshua's had stamina issues since the Klitschko fight. I think we're still looking at that and thinking, well, he gassed after 5-6. That's because he came in heavy. If he comes in closer to 17 stone, I think AJ does 12 rounds.
Ruiz too. Look what he did.
Joseph Parker.
Ruiz's first fight, I think he has stamina issues. I think even in the Povetkin, he showed issues. He showed that he can't sustain the gas. I mean, I will say, like I said, I'm waiting to the Pulev fight because for me, if Joshua can go in there and blast out Pulev, that's a statement.
What, in 2-3 rounds?
Not even 2-3 rounds, even if it's 5 rounds, bro, because Pulev is not a small guy, he's big, and I'm not going to say intimidating, he can fight, he's got strength, he's got real man strength, so if Joshua can go out there, and blast him out within 5 to 6,
man.
That's what I'm saying, so if it's 5-6 rounds, blast him out, I think that sends a huge statement. It's not Fury Wilder type statement, but for Joshua, given that he's now on the kind of...
It's the extra confidence.
It's the comeback, exactly.
Yeah. So, he has to, I mean, Klitschko...
Sorry, I was going to... Last point, and then I'm going to have to move on to the next caller, but
No problem. Yeah, so I'd say, like, when Klitschko fought Pulev, I mean, he put him down multiple times, and that was years ago, right? So really, if Joshua wants to make a statement, you know what I mean, he needs to do it in constructive fashion. And finally, one last question, guys, on a fight, AJ versus Fury, what should the split be?
50-50.
I'm not gonna lie. I'll be honest. I think you could argue for 60-40 if it's in the States.
Whose favor?
Fury's.
Nah, get out of here, man. I think AJ's not going to take that. AJ's not going to take that. Eddie's not going to take that.
I know that's the problem, but
I think.
But listen, hear me out. Hear me out. Like, I just think there's an argument. If Fury says I want 60% because I've done what you can't do, I've smashed the gate receipts in US already, Vegas, like that's the highest on record fact. I smashed the heavyweight champion in his backyard and taken his belts. Dangerous puncher in history, whatever we want to say about him. I think you're going to say it. Listen, who's the bigger name in the US? And I said, if it's in the US, if it's the UK or Saudi, then I think, 50-50. But I think if it's in the US, I think there's a slight argument for 60%.
Do you know what? I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
But listen, guys, we've got to move to the next caller. But thank you very much for your call.
Guys.
Cheers,
bro.
Pleasure, man.
Great show again, guys.
Thank you very much. 041, the floor is yours.
Down now. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It might as well break down now.
Hey.
That's not let it
Hello?
on.
You see these guys. Hello?
I said to you, man.
You see these guys, these callers that are not serious, man. So, I mean, okay, that's my. I'll go back to caller 041, but I just think if it's in the US, I think there's an argument for Fury. If I'm being honest, I think there is.
No, there is. You said it. He smashed the gate. He's done what he's here to do. He's building a real cult following out there.
Don't forget, he's on TV as well. In the sense that Joshua's just been on DAZN.
ESPN is a big platform. He's having the likes of Stephen A. Smith and Max Kellerman, who are influential themselves, blowing smoke up his ass. So, it was interesting though, Max Kellerman, what he was saying about Wilder's legs and the power though. That was a weird one. It wasn't. I felt like he knew something that we all didn't know.
Yeah, I feel possibly, like, without really saying it.
No, exactly. When I uploaded it, he said, the legs and the power and how it might affect him being heavier. It might not help him offload his shots as much as he's used to. And when he kept saying that, I was thinking, he knows something we don't, man. He knows something we don't. The fact he's saying that.
But just focusing on this Mark Breland thing, and I think obviously well said to all the callers that have called in today and kind of said that. For me, I just think it's I'm going to say not even tragedy. And the reason is it's disgusting. We can say on the Black History Month, like Uncle said, great point, and like Inam said, but we're talking about a decorated amateur. I can tell you, and it's not to just boast for the show, but like backstory, when I flew into Charlotte, from Charlotte to Vegas, I was on the same flight with Team Wilder. So like Breland, Jay Diaz, Emmanuel Diaz, who's a great amateur that I got to talk to, Malik King Scott, Wilder's brother. So I was talking to those guys. We're all in the MGM. So by day 3, we know each other's faces. And I spoke to Breland. And one thing I can tell you is when I found out he was 52, I was shocked because I was like, damn, this guy seems older, which you don't really get with black people. And his facilities were slower. His faculties were slower. Slurred speech, very, very quiet, low-tone speaking type of person. So for me, him throwing in the towel was a pure reflection of him understanding boxing and also understanding not just in boxing, in all sports, athletes don't always know what's best for themselves. Yeah. How many times have you seen footballers or tennis players saying, I can play on, boxers, I can fight on. But actually, like you said, you live to fight another day. Like, take this L, hold it, hug it, and let it inspire you to come back. Because no matter what, I don't see how Wilder could come back and beat Fury. But I will say this. When Joshua lost to Ruiz in the manner he did, everybody was saying, I don't see how Joshua can beat Ruiz. He needs to do something. He needs to do this. And he did it. So I'm not saying Wilder's going to do that, but I'm saying hold your L, go back into your corner, don't get a haircut for about 6 months, and then come back and try and do your thing. But yeah,
that was touchdown in Africa as well,
right? I mean, he's going anyway. But
what, Wilder?
Yeah. So this time he's
GH, isn't it?
No, he's not. I think he's going Niger.
It's going. Is he? Oh, really?
I think he's going Niger, man. I think he's going Niger in like maybe in a couple months, in a couple weeks. So yeah. So I mean, he's just let himself down. He's absolutely let himself down because I think.
And you're going back to the motherland? Nah.
Yeah,
Nigeria don't. Actually, don't let me say Nigeria don't want you because he listens to raps. I love you, Wilder. But
so I guess for me, we just got to say to ourselves, listen, I do want to talk about like the Dillian White reaction. So we all know Dillian White's a king of the band.
He's a clown.
Listen, that laugh on Sky Sports was real.
I was actually crying. I was always crying because the thing is, he's genuinely laughing like that.
Yeah,
He's actually, as much as people love him, he can't be.
He's spiteful.
But
but you know what? I love Dillian White. He's spiteful, but I love Dillian White.
Yeah,
because he's real.
Even as Don said before, he said, he likes Dillian. Like Don Charles, who was obviously arch enemies of Dillian and Mark Tibbs. He was saying, I like Dillian because he makes out like he's a lot more smarter than he makes out. really intelligent guy, what he makes out, and he just kind of plays with it and plays upon that kind of side and how funny he is. But that's gonna really spike some views, man. That was
100%.
That was pure bullying. That was.
Well, yeah, for real.
But to be honest, I don't think Dillian White could ever get a beat down like that.
No, I don't think so.
No.
I think if
Dillian White don't get beat down like
if Fury pull it on White like that, White will be stronger and sturdier. Like I said, he's better on the back foot also than Wilder. I'm not saying Fury wouldn't beat him, but it would be an absolute zero.
It's always one punch, because you would argue the way Ruiz beat Joshua. I gotta say, with heavyweight boxing especially, one punch can destabilize you for
I agree with
the
that.
fight. So no matter what your plans are, so like I would argue that Fury's probably got the attributes to half play around with him, but Dillian White has got mad heart. We've seen that. But yeah, let's see. So listen, I'm going to try and go back to Williamo. I think it's Williamo. If he doesn't answer, I've got to give him his credit. Hey, yes, Williamo.
Yes, buddy. What's happening?
What's going on? So callers, I've got to remind you guys that are listening in, Williamo is the guy that has the YouTube clip that's going viral for our platform anyway. He called in about a month ago as well, like Uncle Benga, and said that it's written in the stars for Wilder to lose to Fury by knockout and Fury to come to Wembley and unify against Joshua. Part one of that prediction has been called true. Williamo, how are you feeling after watching that fight?
Yo, man, top of the world, man. But I've got one question for you, right?
Yeah.
You guys all watch the fight, right?
Yeah.
How did Wilder get his lip busted?
That was a stiff jab, wasn't it? Wasn't that the jab?
No.
I feel like he bit his tongue.
Any more takers?
No, that's a trick question.
Go and watch that fight again. During one of the clinches, that Fury was right on top of him, Fury gave him a blood-clad uppercut inside that clinch. Go and watch it again.
In the first round?
Busted his lip. No, it wasn't the first round.
Okay, so I thought you said
the first round. I can't remember the round, but go watch it again.
Yeah, I remember.
Fury sucked him up a really nice, super duper uppercut in that clincher, my brother. That guy came out, his lip was all over the goddamn fucking floor, man. Yeah. Okay, but listen, it's not about gloating and everything, right? I've been there, done that. I'm high on top of the world. I come down, but at the moment, I'm not too happy about the fact that the fight may not be in Wembley. We all know that if Wilder don't take the rematch, he's finished forever. He ain't coming back. All them Dillian White boys and Ruiz's boys will have their fill of him if he goes down there and tries to make his way back. So definitely that rematch is going to come on. So we need to focus on the Wembley in December, and please let's try and make a movement. This fight has to be in the UK. Not whoever can pay the most will take that fight away from the UK.
Yeah, I think that's the problem you're looking at, William. I think the money. I think. Listen, I can tell you again for the fact I was there. Prince Khalil, Omar Khalil were in the building for that fight. I spoke to Omar Khalil. He's the owner of the.
Them guys are greedy, man. They're greedy.
They're ready to put the
money
down.
The money, so what, man? We want the history to be made in the UK.
Yeah, but
you had hands and all them people saying that now is the time for UK to dominate, to show the world that we got the belts. If you want it, come here.
But Williamo, if you're telling me that
80-something thousand, my brother.
But Williamo, you're telling me that, yeah. But at the same time, are you going to say, "Oh, I want a bit of history," or are you going to make money as a promoter, as an agent? You go with to make the most money.
You make as much money as you can for your fighter.
Listen. It's my phone call. Listen, right? If any promoter has any good sense, right, to make your brand very attractive, you keep it real the first time. This fight, there's going to be trilogies, or whatever they call it, right? The second one can go somewhere else. The third one can go somewhere. It will even make more money because they want to get the second and the third. Those Saudi guys and all that sort of stuff. But the first one needs to be kept real. UK fighting for unification, my brother.
Yeah,
so you guys, you using your media and everything, you need to make sure that this fight stays in the UK. I'm already not going to that friggin' Tottenham fight and all that kind of stuff. What's all that about, AJ? I told you about that shit, man. What are they going to find?
Best stadium in the world.
You come to North London. You come to North London, and you're disrespecting the Arsenal boys.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
He wanted to come to the best stadium in the world.
What? Arsenal?
It's not the best.
Nah, he brushed Arsenal aside.
Shut that man up, man. You're fucking busting here. Yeah, bro. Yeah, I enjoy this. I enjoy your show, guys, man.
Thank
nice
you very
one.
much.
But listen, Kojo.
Yeah.
Kojo, you were saying earlier that you're saying earlier that we need to give Wilder props because he didn't, nobody's knocked him down and he didn't do the same as Fury did him and all that kind of stuff. Kojo,
I didn't say that.
Listen, I respect you, man. But listen,
brother, hold on, rewind. Please quote me word for word. Quote me word for words, because I think you must have been talking.
Did Wilder ever count out Fury?
Brother, that's what I'm saying. Did you hear what I said? You need to quote me word for word, brother. That's what I said. I said the only props I give Wilder is that he lasted from that third round essentially to the 7th round without being counted out. It was the towel that threw him in. So Wilder and I said Sugar Hill wanted him to get that knockout early. I spoke to the coach himself, brother, and his words were his only disappointment was that Fury didn't get that knockout early. Check the tape, my man.
No. Listen. If Fury had got that KO early, right, we wouldn't have witnessed what a brilliant all-rounder Fury is. We wouldn't have witnessed that. You know what I'm saying? Fury had to show the world that, listen, this is Wilder. I am not playing no more. I am beating him the F out. That guy is so bad, man.
And that's what I said, bro.
I'd rather want that beating than a TKO in the first, second, or third round. That 7th round beating, right, with a TKO and a white towel is even worse for Wilder. It's the biggest disgrace he can ever have.
I mean,
I love it, man.
That's for another day. But no, appreciate the call as usual. Like I said,
nice one, bro.
Wicked for the respect.
Look after yourself, my friend.
Look after, man. So last caller 371. I know you've been hanging in there. Appreciate that. Hello.
Hello, lads. How you doing? Great show. First time I've called in. I've just got a quick question for you.
What's your name, brother? Before we move on.
It's Joe, mate.
Joe, nice to meet you.
Yeah, you too, lads. Listen, I was watching Max Kellerman earlier on ESPN, and he made a comment about the rematch clause, stating that Fury had to agree to it, basically. And he made it sound like there may be a way out of the rematch without vacating. Like, if you watch the clip of Max Kellerman today on ESPN, you'll see it. But then I've just watched the IFL TV interview with Warren, and he seemed to think it was pretty much set in stone. So I was just wondering if you'd heard anything.
No, I mean, the Max Kellerman comment you just posed to us is news. From what I heard, again, being in the States, was that especially the rematch clause would be enacted if Wilder lost. The only thing I have heard is that recently Bob Arum said he would like to put it later on in the year because apparently in the contract, the fight needs to happen by July. But Arum said he would like to try and push the fight back to maybe October, November. That's the only thing I've heard. But I've not heard anything about...
I heard that this afternoon. Watch the Max Kellerman interview. It's only 8 minutes long. It's him on First Take, I think, on ESPN. It's just a one-line comment, but he does make it sound like any rematch needs Fury's consent, and it doesn't sound like he's talking like, you know, if he doesn't want the rematch, he'll have to vacate. It sounds like he's talking like there's a clause. But then, like I said, I just watched Warren's IFL TV and he didn't mention nothing. I just thought it was worth a ring. But listen, great show, lads.
Joe, can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a quick question, Joe?
Yeah.
In your mind, do you think Wilder should take the rematch?
He's got to, yeah. If I were him, yeah.
Yeah.
So what else is he going to do? If he's bashed up as badly as we think he is, then he needs that retirement pay, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And if he's not, then he'll fancy his chances. You know, I'm a Wilder fan. Like I'm a big Fury fan. I'm a Wilder fan, but we all know he can put anyone's lights out at any time. You know what I mean? It's not like it's a done deal, is it? He's still going to go into the rematch with a puncher's chance. He can still knock anyone out on his day. I think he'll lose, but I don't see there's any reason why he wouldn't take the rematch.
Yeah. All right. No, thank you very much for that.
Great
for that
call.
Great call as well.
Cheers,
And keep calling in and supporting us. Appreciate
Will
that.
do, lads.
Cheers.
Keep up the
Thank
good
you.
work.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, so no, that's a great call. I'm going to ask you guys a last question before we wrap up. I know there was other topics in the world, but I think really this has been the most dominant.
If it was a points thing, we wouldn't be arguing like this. But the fact it was.
But I wanted to ask you. So we're talking about unification. Williama made the great point about getting it over to the UK. Hearn said that I think on the weekend he said we would love to have it in the summer. But a question I want to ask you:
want it in the UK.
Do you think they should employ a strategy which would see them approach Wilder and say, here's some step aside money, Joshua and Fury get it on, and with that step aside money, the agreement is that he faces the winner of whoever wins over Joshua versus Fury?
What happens to Dillian White? Poor Dillian White.
He's at the back of the queue no matter what. I'm sorry, not in that.
He needs to. If I was him, I'll look at different. Actually, there's no options, is there?
That's they hold all the belts.
Yeah, no, but you just got to hope maybe Joshua has to vacate one of the belts. But obviously undisputed. Now. Yeah. Undisputed. It's tough. I do feel sorry for him when you're at that level at the heavyweight. But at the same time, as much as people said he didn't get a world title shot, he was kind of offered June. He was offered June. He just didn't like the money and the paycheck, and he didn't really feel that the terms.
But my question was step aside money for Wilder.
If I'm Wilder, I'll take it.
Yeah.
If I'm Wilder, I'll take it.
Perfect. Listen, guys, it's been a great show. No doubt, obviously, with such a busy weekend of action, everybody had something to say. Just wanted to say to the guys, don't forget to support the YouTube channel, Instagram, and definitely our Facebook channel where we're going live every week. There's going to be a lot more content, a lot more interviews. 2020 is the big year, but we're going to go out and saying, I'm going to go out by saying the Gypsy King, absolutely smashed it. I think furthermore, it's going to be very difficult to defeat him. I want to say a big shout out to Dean Sinclair. Do you want to give out your Instagram for people to follow you as well? Get your boxing views, comments, chats.
Yeah.
Or Facebook.
Yeah, Dean.Sinclair 85.
Yep. And we've got my man Sam. What's your Instagram now, bro? I've bullied you to get an Instagram account.
It is SDWOTV.
Yeah,
SDWOTV. I'm out there talking all boxing and whatnot. So.
Exactly. And you know the rest, Raps on TV, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. But guys, thank you very much for calling in this week. Appreciate all the comments and all the support throughout the week. It's been nothing but love. And until next time, we're out. Peace, guys.
Take care.
Take care. Cookie, it's your time.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready here.
He's taken another one and another, and Howard Foster has stopped it. Wow, that is going to be controversial.